In this problem, I need to solve this equation here. Well, what type of equation is it? It's a rational equation. That means I have fractions and I also have variables in my denominator. To help us solve this, we need to clear all the denominators, and to do that, I need to find the least common denominator. And to do that, I'm going to quickly factor all the numbers in the denominator. So 9 is 3 times 3, and 6 is 2 times 3. So I'm ready to find my least common denominator. And to do that, we start with our first denominator and write it exactly as it is. Go to your next denominator. Do I already have a 2 in my LCD? No, so I'm going to have to multiply by 2. Go to my next denominator. I need a 3 times a 3 times an x. Well, I already have 1 3 and an x, so all I have to do is multiply by 3 to get both of my 3's. And now go to my last denominator. Do I already have a 2 and a 3? Yes, I definitely do. So that is my LCD. So it's 3 times 2 is 6, 6 times 3 is 18, so my LCD is 18x. Then at this point, it's very important to remember to find the restrictions on the domain. What values of x are not allowed in the denominator? So you set every factor in the denominator equal to 0. So 18 can't equal to 0, but our restrictions are x equals 0. So when we get our solutions to this problem, we need to make sure none of them are x equals 0, because as you can see, if x equals 0, this denominator and this denominator are turned to 0, and you cannot divide by 0, it's undefined. So now we're ready to multiply every single term in our original equation by the LCD. So there are 4 terms in the original equation, and you have to multiply all 4 terms by the LCD. And I suggest you take the time to write it the way I'm writing it, because you will make a lot less mistakes if you do it that way. So my third term is 1 over 9x times my LCD is 18x over 1 minus my last term, which is 7, 6 times, again, my LCD. I know that looks a bit tedious, but it saves making careless mistakes. So I'm now ready to reduce. So 3 goes into 3 once, 3 goes into 18 6 times, and my x's reduce away. So what do I get left with? I get 6 times 2 is 12, over 1 times 1 is 1. I don't need to write that denominator. Minus 2 goes into 18 9 times, so what do I get left here? 5 times 9 is 45x. Equals, the x's reduce on the third term, and 9 goes into 18 2 times, so I get 2 times 1 is 2. And last term, 6 goes into 18 3 times, so I get left with 7 times 3x, which is 21x. So what type of equation do I have left? The highest power on an x is a 1. It's a linear equation. I need x's on one side, numbers on the other. Doesn't matter which way I do it, but I am going to collect my x's on the left-hand side. So I get 12, and negative 45 plus 21 is negative 24x equals 2. Then I'm going to subtract 12 from both sides. So I get negative 24x equals 2 minus 12 is negative 10. Divide both sides by negative 24. So I get x equals, a negative divided by a negative is a positive, 10 24ths, which reduces by 2. 2 goes into 10 5 times, 2 goes into 24 12 times, so I'm going to get x equals 5/12. Now, before I'm done, I check it against my restriction. Is it okay? Is it allowed? Yes, it's not x equals 0, so my answer is x equals 5/12.